Finally, the Phillies are back in the World Series. Eagles, Steelers, Union, MLS Cup playoffs, trending in the AM, and the millions and millions of fans starts in 30 seconds.
Holding gets around in front.
And Philadelphia has it.
And a very good morning, everybody. Finally, you like my rock introduction there? Finally, the Phillies are back in the World Series. I am your host, Phil Stifel. This is Trending in the AM right here on DSM Media Live. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, you know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow on all social media platforms. Make sure you jump into that YouTube page, hit the like and the subscribe button, the comment section there. Even if you're watching this on replay later today, it helps a lot if you like. You drop that comment in the comment section. I will read them all. I go back throughout the day and check them all out. Greatly appreciate any of all that. We got lots to talk about today. If you read the title of this show, who would have thought? It's a huge weekend in Philly sports. I am battling a cold, so if I sound nasally, if anything sounds off today, I thought yesterday went well. Went and listened to some of it on replay. Obviously, you could tell I'm a little congested, but it's not going to stop. The show must go on. You know, nothing's going to stop me from talking Phillies and the World Series. But if you check out the title of this show, the Phillies finally playing the World Series. The Eagles are back. The Union are in the MLS Cup Semi Finals, one win away from the Cup, the championship game. My man, Parcero, will be joining us about 9:15. Covers the Union better than anybody. He's going to come and talk Union with us. Give us a little preview. Phillies 8, Astros 6 today. Love the first prediction being dropped in the comments section there. Love it. Absolutely. But like I said, finally, that's my best rock impersonation. Finally, the Phillies. It's been a long time. 2009, the last time we played in the World Series. And let me tell you something. It feels damn good to have them back in the World Series right now. Sorry, trying to get all my sharing out and all my comment thingies done here so that everybody can be watching on all social media platforms. I'm just a little lagging behind here today. Guys, this is a big deal. The Philadelphia Phillies versus the Astros. And I want to try to be as impartial as possible as I predict, this series and how it's going to go for the Phillies against the Astros. Series goes 7. It very well could be. And I'm going to get into that in a second, how I think it plays out. But there's something that's been getting under my – I don't want to say under my skin. I'm rocking out at work with a Garrett Stubbs Spotify playlist. Well, that's the only way to do it. Only way to do it. I'm really struggling with a couple narratives before I make my prediction. I've got a couple things in my mind, and I'm sure at the end, when I finally decide to make my prediction, I'm sure I'm going to say the Phillies win it because why wouldn't I? We're the champs. I've been rocking this '09 Phillies, champ shirt for pretty much every playoff game. It's been washed more times in the past 3 weeks than it has been in the last 10 years. So, I'm probably going to end up picking the Phillies, but there's this narrative that the Phillies are a team of destiny. Nobody expected us to be here. Bryce Harper was struggling. Zach Wheeler was hurt. Our bullpen was in shambles. And all of a sudden, the playoffs and a light switch flicked. And all of a sudden, they just start dominating the Cardinals, the Braves. Now they're just going to do it again against the Astros. I want to bring up a very interesting thing here. So first off, here's the thing that's sticking to my head. Bryce Harper keeps saying we ain't losing. Absolutely. But the Houston Astros are saying the same exact thing. And for as much as we are a team of destiny, the Houston Astros are a team that needs to win the World Series. They need it. They have to win a World Series. I've got this thing up here. I got the Astros record over the last, decade or so. They're in the World Series this year. So they won the World Series in 2017. And obviously the cheating scandal. They have been a really, really good team since 2015. That's 8 seasons. They've got one World Series. They've lost one other World Series. They need this to validate how good they are. They need this to validate the cheat, like the cheating didn't play a factor in them winning that one World Series. The resume, the legacy of Jose Altuve and some of these guys falls on this match. You don't know how much longer they're going to be sticking together as a team. Justin Verlander, we've all seen it. Everybody keeps tweeting at me Justin Verlander's stats in the World Series, 7 career World Series games. I get it. His legacy is on the line. Dusty Baker, one of the greatest managers in the history of baseball, has only coached in 3 World Series. He's never won a World Series. He's got almost 2,100 career wins in his career. No World Series. He's got 2 teams over 100 wins. No World Series. Dozens of teams, 90-plus wins. No World Series. His legacy is on the line. So while we keep talking about the Phillies as a team of destiny, it's basically the team of destiny versus the team of the legacy and validating the legacy. Nobody expected the Phillies to get here. I for sure didn't. I didn't even know if they were going to make the playoffs. It was touch and go there for a little bit. But the team of legacy versus the team of destiny, what wins? We could talk all the stats, and I've got the team stats up and stuff like that, and we could go with all the cliche things like Bryce Harper saying, we ain't losing. But it comes down to talent, and it comes down to that, want and fight, and the Phillies got it. That's why they're the fucking Phils. They've got the fight. They never give up attitude. So do the Houston Astros. The Houston Astros, to me right now, are coming into this series kind of like the Los Angeles Lakers came into the 0-1 finals against the Sixers. Unbeaten in the playoffs, and just a dominant team. We all thought we were going to be able to carry that over and somehow slay the Giant in that championship. And we got the first win. And then they went on and won the next 4 and crushed us and crushed our hopes and dreams as Sixers fans there. Crushed Allen Iverson's hope and dreams. You got those moments in those playoffs, and then you got the moment of Allen Iverson stepping over Ty Lue, and it just wasn't enough. And is a team of destiny, is that phrase enough to overcome the talent of another team? And that's why I'm still hung up on, do the Phillies win this World Series or not? I want them to. I hope they do. I just don't know. Again, make sure you get your comments in the comment section on your thoughts, anybody that watches now or later on replay. I am just having trouble overcoming that talent level. But can the Phillies win the World Series? They absolutely can. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be really crazy on how they win the World Series here. In my opinion, the only way the Phillies win this World Series is if they take both Game 1 and Game 2. And they can. They're 1 and 2. Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler match up so much better against the Astros 1 and 2 than the Phillies 3 and 4. Ranger Suarez, Noah Syndergaard, or whoever goes in Game 4 against the Astros 3-4. The Astros are much deeper pitching. They're much deeper also in the bullpen. Now, we could say Sir Anthony Dominguez and Jose Alvarado have been pitching well, but the games in 3 and 4, when we're going to need relievers to come in and go 4 innings, when we got a guy that only goes 3 innings or 4 innings like Noah Syndergaard might do, I'm scared about what our bullpen's going to do. We could say we split. Everyone said we were happy that we split in San Diego, and I said no, I wasn't. We left one on the table there in San Diego. Should have won that second game. We were up 4-0. If you get 2 games on the road, if you only go 1-1 on the road in Houston, we come back to Philly for 3. It's going to be till Game 5 when we see Aaron Nola again. And let's be honest, if we go 1-1 in Houston and then we come back here, even if we split the first 2 games and we're 2-2, then all the Astros got to do is win the Game 6 and 7 on the road. Yes, we'll have Wheeler in Game 6, but then Game 7, what happens? That's what concerns me when we get to the back end of this World Series. It's not going to go 4. It's not going to go 5 this series. It's going to go longer. The Phillies are too talented. The Astros are too talented for this to be a 4 or 5 game, quick bing, bang, boom, and it's done. World Series. Both teams have too much talent. But I still just have this fear that the lack of starting pitching depth, which was my number one concern outside of Joe Girardi being the manager early this year, before we started this season, when we did our kickoff show, it was me, Jason, and Mark. We did a kickoff Phillies show before game 1 of the season against the Oakland Athletics. Man, trending in the AM's been going on for that long now. We're almost at a year for trending in the AM now. I got to look up the exact date, but we're almost at a year for trending in the AM. That we'll have a big celebration for that. I predicted the biggest issue this team was going to face was starting pitching depth. Yeah, Wheeler, Nola, great, sure. But back then we had Eflin, we had Ranger, and who was the other guy that was and Gibby, Kyle Gibson. Now you look at it, we're in the playoffs, we're in the World Series. And what is our problem? Who's starting game 3 and game 4, and where our confidence level is? The back end of the bullpen is fine, but the front end of it for those games is not fine. Pitching depth matters, especially when you get to the playoffs. And that's going to be the Achilles heel of this Phillies team. So first key to winning this series, in my opinion, taking both games in Houston. Having Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler do what they do best and dominate this Houston. And look, this Houston Astros team is not the San Diego Padres. All the Phillies had to do, and all Rob Thompson and the pitching staff had to do, was pitch around Juan Soto and Manny Machado. And then the rest of the lineup, our pitching could dominate. This Astros team goes 6-7 deep in their lineup. There's a lot of guys to pitch around for the Astros. I mean, I'm just looking at it. You got Jeremy Pena. Oh, I'm looking at their playoff stats. I want to get back to their regular season stats here real quick. So Pena, 22 home runs, hit 253. Bregman, 23.93 with a 259 average. Gurriel hit 242. You got Tucker in right field, who we're going to boo in a second, 257. Altuve, obviously, former MVP. Jose Alvarez. Is it Jordan Alvarez? Another 37 home runs there, hit over 300. Kyle Tucker, man. Him saying in his locker room, I don't know if it was yesterday. I just saw it this morning. They're a good team. It might not go 4, but maybe it goes 5, basically. To paraphrase him. Dude, he's going to get booed so bad in Philly in game 3 when he steps to the plate. Saying that, they're a really good team, so maybe it doesn't go 4, but we want to get it over in 5. Let's wrap this up quick. That's a bold thing to say right before the start of the World Series, guys. Bold thing to say right there. Look, we already said it. 1, taking game 1 and 2. The second biggest thing, in my opinion, for the Phillies to have a chance to win the World Series, to beat the Houston Astros, goes to the offensive side. And that's Nick Castellanos has to perform. I'm not saying he has to win the MVP. I saw somebody predict, some betting show predicted Nick Castellanos wins the MVP if the Phillies win the World Series. And it made me think, the only way we have a chance is if he performs to an MVP caliber level. We've seen little glimmers that his swing's been getting better. And I got a video to play here as I'm talking about, from batting practice from yesterday. And yeah, my man Nick Castellanos is hitting bombs in batting practice. I can't turn the audio on right now. We'll get dinged with the music and all. But you could hear it clinging off the metal signs in the outfield. Castellanos swings this close. The Houston Astros aren't going to do what the San Diego Padres did and pitch to Bryce Harper. They're going to pitch around him. I was thinking before the show, I was making a joke in my head. The Houston Astros, absolutely the X factor. The Houston Astros, well, not the Houston Astros, Bryce Harper. I don't know what the record is. Is my statistician, Kyle, you watching? What's the record for the most walks in a World Series? Whatever's the record, Bryce Harper might break it. Because if I'm Dusty Baker, Bryce Harper is not getting a single strike to swing at this entire series. He's going to have a 0 batting average and a 1,000 on-base percentage because he's going to walk every single time he's up there. Until now, Nick Castellanos makes you pay. Nick Castellanos has got to be the guy. He's got to be the guy that goes out there and hits 320, 330. I need to see 2 home runs, 3 or 4 doubles, 7 or 8 RBIs. So while us winning game 1 and 2, Wheeler and Nola out dueling the Astros starting pitching in games 1 and 2 is X factor, key to the series 1. Nick Castellanos is 1B. I almost might put that more important than the pitching because we need to be able to score runs. We need to outscore the Houston Astros. And shout out to KC for that great video right there. It'll be up on all our social media platforms, also playing throughout the day, hyping up everybody for this Phillies series. But Nick Castellanos, and I'll throw Alec Bohm in there too, because he's locked into that 6 hole now pretty consistently. Those guys that are hitting after Bryce Harper, I don't worry about JT hitting in front of Bryce Harper. JT needs to get on base so when they walk Bryce Harper, they're playing with fire. So maybe it's Nick Castellanos 1A, JT 1B, but JT's been playing really well, and then Alec Bohm 1C. We know what Schwarber and Hoskins are at the top of the order. I would love to see Schwarber start today, first pitch, boom, hits a bomb, set the tone right from the get-go. Odds are that's not going to happen, though. But it's the rest of that order. Hoskins, he's going to hit 200 or less. But if he has 2 or 3 clutch hits, 1 or 2 more big bombs, that's all we need. I got to pause for 1 second here, guys. I'm going to mute my mic real quick. Sorry, this cold's killing me, guys. Again, pardon the voice. Pardon the congested, nasally voice, guys. I sound awful. But I'm fighting through it because the Phillies are fighting through it, too. My nose, I can even tell with the bad light in here, it looks a little red. Castellanos, could you imagine all it takes? He's been the brunt of a lot of Phillies frustrations this year. And Rhys Hoskins, too. A lot of frustrations this year. But Nick Castellanos signs the big $100+ million deal, comes to Philly, and then has what looked like, statistically speaking, his worst year of his career. That all changes. He becomes the ultimate Philly love. We fall in love with the guy. If he comes out and wins the MVP in the World Series, carries us on his back because they're pitching around Harper, could you imagine that comeback story right there? Nick Castellanos, if he comes out and plays at an MVP level, oh man, I'm just excited thinking about it. Excessively excited thinking about it. But that is X factor number 2 for the Phillies to win the World Series. X factor number 3. I already hinted at it with Dusty Baker, him being almost 2,100 career wins and never getting a World Series. Rob Thompson has been in the World Series because he was on the bench in 2009 for the Yankees. Rob Thompson, for as much flack as I've given him this year, pulled a lot of the right punches at a lot of times this year. He hits the right button, the questionable button. Like, I've got all these buttons here that are sound effects. Ha ha ha. Or, yeah, see, I didn't mean to hit the cat, but, it worked out. It's funny. Rob Thompson, I don't know how much longer he could keep hitting the wrong button and having it work out right. We saw in the Padres series a few times some questionable decisions backfire on him. And what I want to see out of Rob Thompson is, how do I say this the right way? I want to see him not overmanage this team. We know what Dusty Baker is. He's been a manager in baseball since 1993. Like I said, he's got almost 2,100 career wins. It's a long time to be a coach. He knows what to do, and his players respect it. Look, I'm not trying to say the players don't have Rob Thompson's back. That's great how they do. But, look, make sure Stott and Marsh are starting every single game. Let your pitcher, don't pull a pitcher too early. Don't overthink your bullpen usage. Like, I go back to that, putting Brad Hand into game 2 for the one lefty, even though you had 2 big righties in Machado and Juan Bell coming up right after that. That was a bad moment to use Hand, and it didn't work because then he plunks the lefty and then gives up that big inning there. Don't overthink things, Rob Thompson. Look, you've won all our hearts. Anybody like me that was questioning Rob Thompson is on the Rob Thompson bandwagon now, and rightfully so. But don't overthink things this weekend, and next week. Just use what's gotten you here. Rely on the big guns. Brandon Marsh, not one hit in the NLCS. Now, I don't even know if he touched a base in the NLCS. Maybe he did run it in from the outfield, for his next at bat. Brandon Marsh can have a big coming out moment. He is going to be the center fielder. They've already said it, basically. Brandon Marsh is the center fielder of the future of this team. He hasn't started every game of the postseason or since he's been here. They've been doing that platoon with Matt Vierling, but I guarantee you next year he starts, as long as he's healthy, 155 of 162 games in center field. This is his moment to come out and shine. Show why he used to be one of the top prospects in the minors before he got called up with the Angels. Brandon Marsh can come out and show out, but he needs to have that confidence from his manager. You're out there all 7 games. If it goes 7, 6, whatever it may be. That's what we need. We need these guys to step up one more time. They can live on. The legacy lives on forever. If they all step up one more time, that's all it takes. So all these X factors, getting 2 games in Houston, Nick Castellanos, and to an extent JT being MVP caliber players, Rob Thompson not over managing. Is it enough? I still don't know. I mean, this Houston Astros team, again, they won 106 games this year, guys. For a reason. 106 games. They've got that legacy. They got to validate that they're a great team. They got to validate that the trash cans and the thing underneath the shirt of Altuve or whatever it was, that really didn't help him play a factor in their 2017. This is what I could give you stats. I could give you, statistical, breakdowns on one. I look at these other kind of things when I break down games and when I break down theories and stuff like that. I give you the passion and the love. But this legacy thing. Dusty Baker never winning a World Series. Is it enough? Now, I got one other X factor, though, just that counters that. Everybody hates Philly, and we love it, and we know it. Everybody's anti-Philly, and we love it. Nobody likes us, and we don't care. Well, guess what? This is the first time since 2017 with the Eagles and Patriots. I kind of feel like the world, not just Philadelphia, the world, not just the United States, the world, outside of Texas, is rooting for the Philadelphia Phillies. Because just like the Patriots, with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick cheaters and, Deflategate and recording things and all that cheating that they do, everybody was against the Patriots in 2017 and was rooting for the Eagles. That little extra nudge from the world, maybe that helped put us over the top. Does the fact that the world, not just the United States or Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, the world is rooting for the Phillies to beat the Astros, does that get us over the top? Maybe. I hope so. I think so. It's a strong possibility. It feels weird that everybody is rooting for Philly. It really does. Everybody's always so against Philadelphia. And they hate us. Dude, I've got friends from my cruise ship days all over the world. Sports fans all over the country and world. And I've gotten multiple messages from them. Yo, the Phillies better beat the Astros. They better. That's what I keep hearing. And, my man Grant will probably tell me, go Phillies, but George Brett is still better than Mike Schmidt. But he's a Royals fan, and he's still rooting for the Phillies. We broke his heart, his team's heart in 80, and he's still rooting for the Phillies because it's the Astros. So, what you've all been waiting for. My predictions for tonight and this series. Guys, I told you at the beginning, I don't know. But I also told you when I get to my prediction, I'm going to become homerish, and I'm probably going to do it. I am going to predict. I was so close on predicting it correctly in San Diego series. I said they were going to win both games in San Diego, and everybody laughed at me. They scoffed at me. But I'm going to do it again. The Phillies win tonight, game 1. Aaron Nola will continue his playoff dominance. Aaron Nola is going to go out tonight and throw 7 strong innings, 1 run, 2 runs, whatever it may be. They hit a lot of home runs. Aaron Nola has a tendency to give up big solo home runs and stuff like that. Maybe he gives up 1 or 2 bombs tonight. 7 innings, 2 runs, 8 strikeouts, something like that. That's what you're going to get from Aaron Nola. Justin Verlander, I know he has got bad numbers in the World Series, but I don't think they'll be that bad. But I think we could get to him maybe for 4 runs. This Phillies team will win tonight 6-2 in game 1. Phillies win 6-2. Aaron Nola goes 7 innings with 2 runs, 8 strikeouts. That's my prediction. Nick Castellanos gets a 2-run double against Justin Verlander. That's how I see it playing out. They're my predictions for tonight. But then tomorrow night, Zach Wheeler, I know there's questions about his knee, his drop in velocity. He's going to go out and outduel tomorrow night. And we are going to win the first 2 games of the series in Houston. And then this is where the series takes a turn. We come back to Philly. Everybody's hyped. It's Halloween. Game 3. We drop game 3. And unfortunately, we drop game 4. But then game 5, Aaron Nola comes out and throws another dominant performance. We get the win. So we're up 3-2 going back to Houston. That's where I get question marks because Zach Wheeler will go game 6. Maybe we lose game 6. Then game 7. Can Aaron Nola start game 7 with basically a day off and give us 2 innings? And then Ranger Suarez could go for 2 innings. Whatever combination Rob Thompson wants to go with. This series is going to go 7 games, guys. 7 games. And the Phillies win game 7 because all hands on deck. Hell, even Garrett Stubbs might have to pitch an inning, in game 7. Who knows? But the Phillies win the World Series. We march down Broad Street celebrating. Phillies win in 7, guys. Which is crazy to think that I predicted Phillies in 7 after them winning the first 2 games of the series. This Astro team is really good. Like, game 7 will come down to the wire. Maybe a Nick Castellanos home run to win the World Series. I don't know. Can Nick Castellanos pull a Joe Carter? Just rip one? Hey, we haven't even talked about the Hector Neris effect. We can see our old buddy. Dude, what kind of reaction is Hector Neris going to get when he steps on the mound in Philly in the playoffs for the Houston Astros? I have no idea. It's kind of hilarious to think about. But I've got the Phillies winning in 7. I did not know. I did not have anything written down, projected, anything. I had no idea what I was going to predict. But that's where we're at. Phillies win in 7. MVP, not Nick Castellanos. Aaron Nola, because he goes 2 strong starts, and he comes in relief in game 7 and gets a shutout inning or something like that. I don't know how it plays out. Aaron Nola, the guy I question, one of the top 3 guys I question coming into the season, wins the MVP of the World Series. Just another check mark on me being wrong. That's how I got it, guys. I don't know what you think. I don't know what you guys are going to think. I'm going to put my predictions out on Twitter after this show. But, guys, that's what I've got for the Phillies in the World Series here. That's how it's going to play out. I'm very, very confident in saying that. All right, today's show is brought to you by Gents Barber Lounge. Check out one of 2 great locations in Fishtown and Old City and book your appointment today. Gents owns the craft and it shows, rated the #1 barbershop on Yelp. In the Philadelphia area, multiple award-winning barbers and being able to handle any style of cut, adult or kid. Take a look at some of their great work right here. And we're back here, trending in the AM, right here on DSM Media. Again, live everywhere, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, share, retweet, follow on all social media platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the like, subscribe button, and drop your comments in. Even if you're watching on replay on any platform, I still see your comments. I greatly appreciate each and every one of them. Yes, I did just say Phillies in 7. Aaron Nola, MVP. But that is not the only game in town this weekend. Not the only game in town. We got the Philadelphia Eagles coming off the bye. Sunday, 1 o'clock against the Pittsburgh Steelers. First and foremost. Yesterday, I had my man Neil Coulon from Pittsburgh. He covers the Steelers for the NFL Wire. Thank you very much for coming on. Great insight into Pittsburgh and what they're doing out there. I forgot to ask him one key question. Over under 1.5 times at the announcers. We got the Tony Romo crew, the Jim Nantz. We got the MVP crew. First time this year that the Eagles have been graced with a top announced crew. It's about time some respect is shown to the 6-0 Eagles. How many times over under 1.5 that crew makes a Steagles, the Pittsburgh Steelers Eagles combo team? Over and under 1.5 times that they announce, they make that kind of a comment or joke. I'm going to roll with the over. Romo likes those cheesy jokes. How can the Eagles win on Sunday? And I want to say something really interesting here. It's very, very important that the Eagles come out on Sunday and dominate. The Steelers team is not a good team. And as Neil said, though, on yesterday's show, that Mike Tomlin doesn't let his teams roll over and play dead. There's a reason why all their games this year have been close, even the losses for the most part. They never give up. They never surrender. Never give up. Never surrender. If you know where that quote's from, you know me really well. They never give up. They keep fighting until the last second on the clock. I mean, you look at that Dolphins game the Steelers played last week, and they gave up a quick, big touchdown drive to start the game. Then the Dolphins marched right back down the field. They held them to a field goal, up 10-0. That game ended 16-10. Everything in those first two drives said that the Dolphins were going to go out there and crush the Steelers. They didn't, though, because they kept fighting until the end. They got too much self-respect. And that's the culture that Mike Tomlin has built in Pittsburgh. Culture matters in a locker room. And that is something there that the Eagles were, I don't know, let me switch from Phillies on my ESPN site here to the Eagles here. And let me bring up, see if it's changed at all. It was an 11-point line yesterday morning. Let's see what the line is as of this morning. It's still an 11-point line on ESPN's website. An 11-point line. It's a big line. But Mike Tomlin doesn't like losing by double digits. Mike Tomlin doesn't like losing, period. And that culture he's set up there in Pittsburgh been going on for a long time. I question, should he be on the hot seat? He really should. He's had, one losing season in, what's he been there, 15 years now? I don't even know how long. He's been there a long time. The guy has a great culture there in Pittsburgh. But the Eagles are still, even though they're 6-0 through 7 weeks, are still questioned whether they're good enough or not. Whether they're really the best team in the league or not. Whether they're even the best team in the conference. Look, the Bucs lost again last night. Dude, Tom Brady is done. He's done. He's just might as well call it a season right now. Wondered when he was going to hit that wall. Those outside issues are just playing way too. I mean, he still threw for over 300 yards last night, but he just time to call it. The Eagles need to come out on Sunday and win the game, but not just win the game. They need to cover the spread. They need to come out and be like, yo, foot on throat. Because that's been the problem this year. They've gotten these leads, and then they've let off the pedal. Gotten very conservative in the second half of football games. Kept the other teams in it. Not scored in the second half of a bunch of games this year. They need to be able to come out on Sunday and just say, yo, NFL, what's up? We are the best team. They need to come out and put a 38 spot up on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hold Kenny Pickett and this Steelers offense to 10 points. That's what they need to do. They need a 38-10, 35-3 type game. Question is, can they do it? Will they do it? Are they going to come off the bye? I'm really curious because this year one is one thing because it was no experience. But this year, Nick Sirianni, how he's got his team. He's not a rookie head coach anymore. How he's got his team coming out of a bye week is huge. Huge. I want to see them come out with the same intensity that they've had for the previous 6 games. Do they? I don't know. This has got the next 2 weeks, 2 games, have just total letdown written all over them. We talk about trap games. This is a letdown game. You're 6-0. You're smelling your own shit. Not that I can smell a thing right now because my nose is stuffed up beyond belief right now. So you come out of the bye, you ride high, you're like, yeah, we're good. And then you come out and lay a goose egg. Not that they're going to get shut out, but I mean, like, lay an egg. I mean, you got Houston next week, too. Another easy, on paper win. Do they have letdowns this week and next week? This is the week. Not to judge Jalen Hurts or to judge anybody. This is the Nick Sirianni week. He's Mr. Leader, Mr. Catchphrase and watering the flowers and growing roots guy. This is his week to prove what kind of a head coach he is. This is a week for him to come out and say, yo, we need to put our stamp on the fact that we are the best team in the NFL. There's a chance, looking at their schedule, that they could be 10-0, 11-0. We'll see. Hell, let's talk 17-0. I'm just being a little sarcastic there, but you guys know what I'm getting at. This is the week for them to do it. How do they do it? First and foremost, we started talking about it, then we got in with Neil yesterday, then we talked some Sixers yesterday. The Robert Quinn acquisition. How will he be integrated? He's only going to be here for a day or two. He showed up yesterday. He was on the practice field, but didn't practice really much. Today's Friday. They'll probably have a walkthrough, or they'll either be off today or tomorrow, and they'll have a walkthrough. So he's not going to have an opportunity to excuse me for a second. He's not going to have an opportunity to really fully know the defensive playbook, which he's going to be here to blitz the quarterback, basically. So you can put him out there on third downs occasionally. Just say, yo, go get it. Go get at it. Be curious to see how he looks. If he looks any better than he did in Chicago, if him being on the field makes a difference on who else is getting double teamed on the front. Jordan Davis gets double teamed nonstop. You put Reddick, Quinn, Brandon Graham, Sweat, and Jordan Davis all on the front five. You just make a front five of those guys, and you just let them go. And then you can drop six guys back. Who do they double team? A lot of teams double team Jordan Davis. Be great to see him not get a double team occasionally with that kind of a front five right there. So I'll be curious to see how he gets integrated. But how do we beat this Pittsburgh Steelers team? It's pretty easy. It's stopping. Well, it's not hard to stop Kenny Pickett and this offense. This offense, which Neil said, Najee Harris is overrated. Kind of shocked me, but when you look at the numbers, maybe the offensive line isn't great. It's not bad. They're wide receivers. You don't have to worry too much about them. They have some really talented weapons out there, but you got Kenny Pickett throwing the ball. So this defense should not have a problem shutting down this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. The question is, can they get after Kenny Pickett early? Rattle the kid early. He's a young kid. He's got nothing to lose. He knows he's the future, at least for this year and next year, of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He can go out there and sling it around and throws a pick. Whatever. What are they going to do? Cut me for Mitchell Trubisky? No. He can go out there and let loose. So you got to get after him early. Rattle him early. Stop the run. Don't let Najee Harris might be overrated, might not be, but he's still a talented running back that, if you give it a chance, could have a big breakout game. Stop the run. Get after Kenny Pickett. Force those turnovers early. Rattle his cage a little bit. Get him questioning. Because once a young quarterback starts questioning, you pick off a ball, you almost pick off a ball, whatever it may be. You sack them a couple times. Then all of a sudden, they get those happy feet. They start questioning what they're doing. They start questioning their offensive line. They start questioning everything. So that's what you do. You get after him early. And then you let the offense put the foot on the pedal, the foot on the throat, and run the score up. The Steelers defense is okay. They're not what they used to be. They're obviously no TJ Watt. They're still solid. They're still okay. But you get after Kenny Pickett. You let the offense do what they do best, run the football, get the ball to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and you put up a boatload of points really early and really quickly. The question is, will they do it? And I still keep going back to what Neil, in my head, I've got that one line from Neil Coulon. Mike Tomlin does not let the Steelers roll over and play dead. You cannot kill the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think is what he used those words exactly. And that's what I keep rolling back to. That's kind of why I think it's going to be tough for them to cover the spread. Predictions for Sunday's Eagles-Steelers game. Man, so I'm struggling with predictions today, man. This is a great day. We haven't even talked the Philadelphia 76ers. They play tonight. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to be watching the Sixers game tonight. 8:03, first pitch of the World Series. That TV goes right to the Phillies game. We won't even be I'll be checking the box score on my phone, and that is it. The Sixers are a story for another day. Doc Rivers is lucky that the Phillies are in the World Series right now because nobody's talking Sixers right now. So Sunday, how does this play out on Sunday? Well, it plays out exactly how I think it's going to play out, or say it should play out. We are going to jump over this Pittsburgh team quickly and often. Now, will they cover that 11-point spread? I don't know. So this is how it's going to play out. Game theory. Excuse me for 1 second, guys. Man, this cold, man, kicking my ass. But it is just a cold, just so you know. No comments necessary. It is just a cold. They come out early. They get after Kenny Pickett early. This Eagles team will go up 17-0 at the half. That's how I see the start of the game. Dominate, long drives. Kenny Pickett can't get anything, maybe a pick here or there, a couple sacks on him. That Jordan Davis is going to get a sack. I'm going to make that random bold prediction. Jordan Davis gets 1 sack. But then the second half, things change a little bit. The Steelers don't roll over and play dead. I'm going to go Eagles 27. We do score 10 second half points. Not enough, but 27-17. That is my prediction. Jalen Hurts has a solid game. Everybody has a solid all-around game. But we're still questioning after the game. So they don't cover the 11-point spread. We are still questioning this Eagles team. Well, we won't be, but the league will be questioning this Eagles team next week and the week after that until they come out and really put their foot on, the throats of an opponent. That I just, where they say that like the Steelers won't die, that Mike Tomlin won't let them die. This Eagles team just isn't a team built to blow out opponents. They're just going to win games all year long by 8, 10, 6, 5, 4, 12. They're not going to come out and win a game 30-0. I just don't think that's how this team is built. And that doesn't mean they're a bad team. It just means what kind of team they are isn't conducive for blowouts. They're kind of like the Steelers also. They won't get crushed either by 30 in any game. Jalen Hurts won't ever allow that. But I kind of just don't see this being a team that will ever, just smoke an opponent. So 27-17. I'm checking my messages to see if my man Parcero, he's supposed to join us here in about a minute or so to talk Philadelphia Union. But what that does, that gives me a second to talk Philadelphia 76ers, I guess. While we wait, Sixers play the Raptors tonight. Game 2 of that back-to-back in Toronto. Sixers lost again. They're 1-4. Will the Sixers come out and win tonight? They're favored. Well, they're not favored anymore. They're -1.5. The FPI says they're going to win. The ESPN analytics say they're going to win, but they're 1.5-point dogs. Nobody's paying attention to the Sixers team. Nobody. And that's good because, honestly, I see so many rumors floating around. Fire Doc, Harden and Embiid are already beefing. Guys, who cares? We'll worry about that in a week. Let me tell you something. If they lose again tonight, while nobody's watching, it's a weekend. I'm telling you, the Doc Rivers thing, it's got to happen. I know I sound like one of those guys that changes his Twitter handle to @FireDocRivers or whatever. I'm not that kind of guy. I've been questioning Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey since the day they got here. Been questioning. And there we go. Here's my man. Oh, wrong screen. We don't need you little. We if anything, you got to be the big screen. My man, El Parcero, Philly, the best guy that covers the Union, and he does all the great post-game shows on DSM Media. My man, Parcero, how you doing today?
Dude, thanks so much for the kind words, man. I'm excited to be here. And listen, it is obviously World Series Day. I literally woke up and I'm like, babe, happy World Series Day to you. And, Sunday, it all comes down to Eastern Conference Finals here. We could have 2 championship runs here, culminating here next week in Philadelphia. So it does start with Uni too.
If I'm correct, the finals of the World Cup or the MLS Cup would be on the same day as Game 7, right?
Yeah, so if the Phils and the Astros go to Game 7, you could have an MLS Cup possibility of not only the Union playing in Chester, but also Game 7 of the World Series. So
I did predict Phillies. I did just predict Phillies in 7.
Okay.
So that would be the goal. All right, so obviously Phillies World Series, that's what's dominating. But I want to give love to this Union team, the Philadelphia Union, because let's be honest, before the Phillies made this playoff run, a lot of people didn't think they were going to go this far in the playoffs. We were saying the Union were the best team in Philadelphia sports. The people that pay attention to all 5 sports know that this Union team is legit and has been legit for a really long time.
Yeah, man.
So tell us about this journey. They're in the semifinals tonight. Sunday. Tell us what this team is, how they've gotten here, and what to expect on Sunday.
This has been a little bit of a different, run here for the Union this year. They literally dominated the entire league. I think everyone has seen the home performances. They're putting up 6-7 goals and just shutting out teams. It's a really good attack now with a really good defense that we've always had. And I think we talked about it before in the season was in the offseason, one of the big differences was they realized that the attack was not good enough. Everything else on this team was elite in the league, but they were not scoring enough goals. They went out and signed Mikael Ua. They went out and got what should have been the comeback player of the year and Julian Carranza. They literally stole him away from Miami, and that's really been the big difference. And the attack really, it took them a little bit, but Jim and his analytic team finally got the right game plan, and they started erupting. Now, they ran through the Eastern Conference. They almost won Supporter Shield, but stinking LAFC finally got it in the second to last week of the season. But now in the playoffs, they go up against Cincinnati in their first game. They had the first round bye as they were the number 1 seed. Cincinnati was a team that really gave us problems throughout the season because of Pat Noonan, and who was a former assistant coach here in Philly. And he took a bunch of pieces over to Cincinnati with them, and he's really developed a great culture. And it was 90 minutes last Thursday of just grit and grind, typical MLS Cup soccer. There were so many stops because of just, fouls and extracurricular activities, but the Union really showed in that game their playoff IQ, and I really felt like that's really what separated them. And then, Phil, it leads to Sunday. What a great storyline for the league, not only for Philly, but for the league. This was the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and the Union got killed with the COVID, and everyone remembers what happened. They had 11 players out because of COVID, and NYCFC stole the game in the last year. And so the Union had the opportunity for their revenge back at Subaru Park, and what it seems like everyone's healthy. Even our captain, Alejandro Bedoya, which was the big one to watch for this week, but it looks like he will be playing. He's been battling a nagging injury over the past couple of weeks, so it's a great storyline, man. And this team culminates in this.
It kind of like links to a theory that I was talking about early in the show with the Astros. Like everyone talks about the Phillies are a team of destiny, but the Astros are a team of validation because of the cheating scandal and the fact that this Astros team, period, has been a really good team, but only won 1 World Series.
Yeah.
Is there anything to it that the Union have to win because they want to validate how good they really have been? Like we say that they should have won if it wasn't for the COVID outbreak last year. But is there that thread maybe going through their heads that they got to validate that they're the best team for the last couple of years?
Dude, that's a really good question. That's a really good point. And I think that for the Union, you have to think that because the amount of success that they've had over the past couple of years, winning Supporter Shield, selling these players off to Europe, the success in the regular season. Jim just won the second Coach of the Year in 3 years. And so, yeah, it does feel like if this team doesn't at least make the MLS Cup Finals, because remember, over in the Western Conference, you got 2 really good teams in Austin and LA. So for the Union, it really – they need to make the MLS Cup Final. And they're going up against a really good NYCFC's team that, again, found lightning in the bottle late in the season, just like last year.
Yeah, and it's not just validation for the team; it's validation for the coach too. 'Cause it's the same thing with the Astros. Dusty Baker, a legend. He's been coaching since 1993. He's won so many games, never won a
Yeah.
World Series. Jim Curtin now 2 of the last 3 years, Coach of the Year. Does he need some validation that he's this great coach by winning?
Yeah, Phil, what great example is our Eagles in the 2000s. I mean, we
Yeah.
always talk about all the NFC Championship games we played in, but it's always that. We don't talk about the greatness throughout that era, and that's what the Union need to kind of get over the hump with, because this has been a really good run that they've been on over the past couple of years.
So then game theory, game script, how does Sunday night play out? Obviously, Subaru Park's gonna be packed. It's
Yeah, man.
gonna be loud. There's never
Mhm.
I mean, they could be 0-20 and that stadium would still be packed and jumping. It's if you haven't been to a Union game before at Subaru Park, I mean, it is one of the greatest experiences there is out there. And luckily my boys got, you know, seats right on the field. So when I get to go, I'm sitting like right there and I'm rubbing elbows with the players. So maybe that amplifies it for me a little bit. But how does this game play out on Sunday? And do they do what they got to do and take care of business?
Yeah, man. Listen, I think when it comes to NYCFC, what you need to remember is this is a prototypical, and I'm going to use a lot of soccer terms right now. It's a prototypical heavy possession style of soccer. To kind of give a little bit of example, the Union, they've kind of changed they've been very flexible in the way they've been able to play. They can be a heavily defensive team and then, kill you on the counterattack, kind of like the Sixers in 2020. I know I don't want to bring up the Ben Simmons era, but a lot of what was successful in that year was the turnovers, turning them into points, and that's kind of what the Union would be able to do. But now, like I mentioned, they added Ua, they added Carranza, and to go alongside with the MVP snub and Daniel Gazdag, they can possess the ball themselves. But when it comes to NYCFC this year, they obviously lost Tati Castellanos, who was their legend. He really excelled them into the MLS Cup Final. They brought back he's been like a super sub, Erber. He's now their main striker. But the main thing is the guys in the midfield. They got a couple players, and they all look alike. They're all short Hispanic guys, except for Kevin O'Toole. But a bunch of these, shifty, creative type of midfielders. Maxi Morales is another NYCFC legend. They have moved him back deep, and they have allowed him to have a lot of freedom throughout the midfield. He's going to cover a lot of field. Santi Rodriguez is the future of NYCFC. They gave him a lot of more responsibility alongside with Gio Pereira and Kevin O'Toole in the wings. So for the Union, communication is going to be key. I did not feel like that was in tip-top shape against Cincinnati. They got lucky, but you need to make sure you are communicating. You have the best back line in the MLS, so that makes you definitely feel a little bit confident. But this is the playoffs, just like what we talk about with the Phillies. Anything can happen, so you have to be on your A game. And especially this NYCFC team has no business of being here. They literally lost their coach. They literally lost their best player. They both went to Europe in the middle of the season. And you got to give credit to their new coach, Nick Cushing, who comes over from Manchester City's women's team. He was their coach there. He became the assistant in NYCFC. Now he is the head guy in NYCFC. And in his first couple months, he's already taken these guys to the Eastern Conference Finals. Playoff emotions are obviously going to be a big factor here, but I have to believe that the factor with the Union, what happened last year, the revenge they're looking for this year, and the pieces they have added, it has to be enough. The Union, they have to win. I'm going to put it that way. They have to win, and I think they will. It's going to be a tight one.
Because I think the have to win kind of goes to that validating legacy and validating who they are.
Exactly.
Kind of theory that I have. I think that's a big deal, and I love your using the early 2000 Eagles as another example to that.
Exactly.
You have to validate that kind of stuff. And this is, I'm an amateur soccer fan, obviously. If they make the cup, is it on a neutral field or will it be in Philly or?
So that's my main gripe with the MLS. I don't like playing it in so pretty much the higher seed, the team had the higher the points, that's who hosts the cup. I want the neutral site. I think what the NFL does is brilliant. The Super Bowl is a party. It's not really an event, it's a party, right? And I really want the MLS to take it to that level. But here's the thing. So if LA wins earlier in the day, so LAFC and Austin will be playing in the Western Conference Finals. Okay. So if LA beats Austin, the MLS Cup will be in LA. If Austin wins, it could be in Philadelphia. Now, if NYC wins and Austin wins, it'll be in Austin. So it's a lot of crazy things, but let's take care of business.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you because the MLS, I kind of feel like they're like on the cusp of breaking it. We joke about 4 for 4 that we're 5 for 5. But honestly speaking, I mean, hockey overall in the States is kind of taking a little bit of a dive. Baseball even is taking a little bit of a dive. They're on the cusp of making it, into the regular daily conversation. And, well, first off, them going to all streaming sites next year is going to kind of really hurt them, in my opinion. I really can't stand that whole thing because I don't watch Thursday Night Football. I refuse to because I'm not going to pay for a streaming site on top of whatever, I think it's awful. But,
yeah, I feel you, man.
They're on the cusp and making a big deal about the Cup would actually possibly help. Get some of the celebrities out there hanging out, get some live music back at, halftime. Making it a big deal, could kind of give them that little bump to the next level.
Yeah, I think they're scared of just not selling out stadiums, but you got to start somewhere. I mean, I'm down Super Bowl 1 sold out LA Coliseum. Like, I mean, you got to start somewhere. And I think that the thing was, it was in neutral sites, but they were using predominantly LA and the Galaxy Stadium. But then they went back to just whoever has the higher the points will host the Cup. And I just don't care for it. Like last year, you had it in Portland, and it was like a rainy, like mucky day. It didn't feel like an MLS Cup, and that's just the point of it. Put in a neutral site.
I don't want weather factoring into my championship, even in the World Series. Even in the World Series, obviously, I think Monday in Philly it's supposed to be rough the weather. So Monday's game weather is going to play a factor into it. I don't want the championships of any sport having weather coming to a factor of it.
I agree.
I don't.
I agree.
All right, so they win on Sunday. You're predicting? Do they win the Cup? Do they hoist the trophy? Do we have 2 parades down Broad Street in a week?
Dude, I really want to say, yeah. I me. I got to look at it. I got to analyze it. It really comes down to what the matchup is in the final. I mean, if LA gets there, riding high, they've been on a little.
Did we lose him there? You there, my man? I think we lost El Parcero there. I think he was leading into saying that he's not confident in going up against LA in the MLS Cup. But maybe he was going to say that he's more confident against Austin. Also, if they're playing Austin in Philly or in Chester, obviously much better than that crowd. Will definitely play a factor there. My man trying to stall to give him a chance to get back in the screen there, and he's not doing it. I'm checking everywhere. No. Oh well. My man El Parcero. You make sure you shoot him a follow at Parcero Philly. He really does a kick-ass job covering the Union and all the Philly teams with his post-game work. He's on DSM Media. He's on his own channel, Parcero Philly, as well. Make sure you give him a follow, a subscribe. Guys, we're going to wrap the show up there. Make sure you hit that like button, the subscribe button, in the comments section. Yes, I have it. Phillies in 7. Eagles win 27-17. The Union win. I'll say 3-1. I know nothing about it. 3-1. Sure. Why not? But unfortunately, the Sixers don't win tonight. Sorry, guys. Don't see it happening. Anyway, I'm your host, Phil Stiefel here, Trending in the AM. Another great week of Trending in the AM. Thank you all for tuning in all week long. Like, subscribe, comment. I can't help ask enough times. We need to push forward. We're going to be rolling out a promo here in the next day or so. If we get to 800 subscribers soon, we are going to give away a Bryce Harper World Series patch jersey. We get to 1,000. I think we got Eagles tickets. 2,000. I think we got sweet tickets for you. We got something rolling out special here really soon. So make sure you subscribe to the DSM Media YouTube page. They happen when we get to a certain channel, and then we're going to give them away only to subscribers to the YouTube page, the prizes. Everybody have a great day, a great weekend. Enjoy this. As I said at the beginning of the show, finally, the Phillies are in the World Series. And the millions of Phillies fans across the world chant their name. Harper, Harper. Yeah, it's the best rock impersonation I could do, guys. Hey, ring that bell. Let's go. The hunt for Red October continues. And go Birds, man.
And Philadelphia has it.